What's more important, being successful or having a family?
Having a family.
What do you guys think?
Successful.
Wait, so for the man or for the woman?
It seems like the red pill ideology is that being successful is more important. It's not about attracting a woman. Like, what's more important for a man? What should a man's priority be? Having a family or being successful?
Being successful first every single time, because then you have the ability to choose. But
not anymore. Not if you get the vasectomy, then you can't have the family.
Dude, you can undo a vasectomy. Like
okay, hold on. Vasectomies are not supposed to be undone. It is possible, but that's not meant to be an undone surgery. It's supposed to be a one and done. And the longer you wait after you have it, the lower the chance you have of reversing it. Use a condom. Why the f would you get a fucking vasectomy? I might just cut it and go to Rumble, I guess, if everybody's just cuxing always. I don't think this change your legs, just buffering off. Then go watch on Rumble. I don't know why then move to Rumble. I don't know why you're still on YouTube then. The vasectomy is not a 100% chance to reverse. And again, the longer it goes on, the worse the chance. That's supposed to be a permanent surgery. I don't know why you would ever defend such an insane fucking position.
Like, I don't know why you keep saying, like, you can undo a vasectomy.
It's that one point.
Sometimes.
It's that one point that has you tripped out. Remember, dude,
but it says avoid family creation. Like, we
at
get
the beginning stages, bro. Dude, that's not a long-term. That's a short-term.
He said quickest way, which means short-term strategy to building your value up as quickly as possible. That's retard-proof. That's not going to get you in a jam.
I'm not saying that you should have a kid when you're extremely young, but I am saying that we should be focused on becoming good fathers too. Just like we make fun of girls for prioritizing their careers and wanting to be girl bosses and wanting to build an empire, they're not prioritizing motherhood immediately. And then we're saying, men, ignore family creation, get a vasectomy so you can focus on getting rich, and then you'll be 40, you'll have all these hoes and girls, and then start a family. Like, how are we building men to become good fathers if they've been only prioritizing success, if they have a surgery? How do they have the character that's going to lead a proper family?
So you're saying...
Oh, true. He's actually gotten, I don't know if he's found like a new conservative figure to model himself after, or if he's watching a lot of Ben Shapiro, but now he's making actual conservative arguments and not this cringe fucking red pill shit.
Because they've dealt with a bunch of hoes first, so they know what a good woman is.
So you're saying us as men, when we're young, should have kids early, right?
No,
that's
not what he said.
I didn't say that.
No, but what's the priority then? Family or success?
It doesn't mean that you need to have kids young, but it shouldn't be avoid family creation in your head. That's an important thing to think about when you're young too. How am I going to have the character? How am I going to have the maturity, the responsibility to become a good father when I am ready to do it?
So what age should men have kids then?
I would say
25, 30?
Early 30s is probably ideal.
30s?
Yeah, I would say like early 30s, mid 30s.
See, you just proved that point. That list is for people in their 20s. Not their 30s.
Well, there you go. You have a vasectomy, you can't have kids in your early 30s. That's the point of the surgery.
No.
You can maybe reverse it, but you can't have, like, that's what that surgery is, permanent.
So all in my 20s, what should I be doing?
You should be working on your character. You should be working on your maturity. You should be getting closer to God. A lot of the things that we're praising the women for to become a good mother, that's important things for men to focus on too.
I work on character.
I didn't say be broke. It's equally important to work on your finances. Women aren't going to say that, of course. I'm telling guys, you should get rich as possible too. But you should also be working on, like, building your character and looking at how I'm going to raise my kids and how I'm going to be a good father. If you're 40 and you have all these hoes and you have experience with hoes, is that going to make you a better father? Probably not. You'll just know how to avoid a bad woman. But it's not that you don't need to fuck 100 women to realize what a hoe is. A hoe is a girl. You look at her Instagram, you know she's a hoe or not. You don't need to get all these women in order to understand that.
No, you don't.
Can I
Once again,
interject?
you need to be able to decipher from experience who's a hoe and who's not. We're just saying, look.
Do you think it's that hard to see who a hoe is?
Bro, come on. Really?
I like how he has no response to that. Like, it's not really that hard. Like, you would never hear this from a conservative man. Like, yes, it was necessary for me to fuck many bitches for me to figure out which one was truly the loyal woman I was going to make my wife. Like, nobody says this. It's so stupid.
Overall, men should have a self-control when they're in their early 20s. Yes, by nature, like, you know, you're going to go be promiscuous and all of this, but you also can have if you're working to get closer to God, you will create a self-control within yourself to not be sexually, like, promiscuous and just having sex with everyone and get someone pregnant.
And
you could use a condom too.
Can I say too, I think what Sneako's also trying to explain is that when you have a culture that bashes Western women about how we're focusing on the wrong things when we're young, but then you praise men for perpetuating that culture. I think what's
Wait, hold on, wait, real quick.
Anyway.
Jesus.
Don't adhere to the same timeline that women do. Like women have a finite amount of time to find a man. You know what I mean? Like for you ladies that are in your mid 20s, 30s, etc. Like y'all need to like really rush and get pregnant and have a family. For us, bro, you can have kids until you're 40, 50, whatever it may be. And you might be a better dad at that age because you're more experienced, you have your money.
Mature.
You can put your kids in private school versus putting them in public. You can really, your woman doesn't have to work, so she can stay and raise the kids. So I look at it like, okay, I might put off kids for 10 years, right? And I'm putting off the family, but I worked at it 10 years extra. Now my wife don't got to work. Ooh. Now my kids can go to private. Now my kids have a driver. Now we're in the best neighborhood. Now I don't got to worry about shit. So is it worth it to have a family younger when I could have acquired more status and resources to give the children a better life?
Ladies,
I will say that 10 years is worth it because as a man, that you're not on that same clock.
Ladies, real quick, what do you prefer? Having kids early on with your high school sweetheart, or having kids later on with someone that's successful and can take care of you and the family? What do you prefer?
Later on.
What do you prefer?
Later.
Definitely later.
Later.
On the between like now and 30s, like 27.
So in between.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think later, but also really depends on like where the man is too. Like.
So you want kids now?
No, but that's because also I can't talk. Like it's not like there's a man in my life where I've met someone and I'm like, oh, I could have a kid.
What if you did? You want kids right now? Be honest. Don't cap. I'm watching you right now.
Me, I'm not in the position. I
Okay.
have other things.
What about you?
I would say later, but
Later?
with the right person, maybe soon.
For you?
Later.
For you?
Later.
For you?
Oh. Well, I basically waited till later. So
yeah,
later.
you,
yeah.
No.
You're too,
But I don't think he's explaining like to have it at a young age. Like I think he's explaining that it's just to have a family. I mean, it depends also what you guys consider of like what is being rich, what is being successful, having money. I mean, you could be a middle class man, find a good woman, and have a family. You know.
Middle class is pretty much gone.
Yeah.
Nowadays is the have or have nots. But what about you?
Later.
So ultimately, Sneako, you can see here on the panel, women prefer a mature, successful man that can take care of the family, not just someone that's going to be
late. I feel like I would just go crazy on these shows anyway. Later doesn't mean 40 fucking years old, dude. Like, it's like, what would you rather have a kid with? Like at 19 with your high school sweetheart, or with a guy who's 45? Like, there are plenty of like exit ramps in the middle. Like, Jesus Christ, dude. So you're starting to make your way through the world of TradCon. How's that going?
Is that really a TradCon saying that you shouldn't get a vasectomy? I don't understand why that was the response. Like, are we that doomer on the red pill side that getting a vasectomy is the solution to feminism? I just think that's a huge cope and terrible advice.
Well, it's not that, hi. Sorry, people just walked in. Okay, let me just.
What?
Nothing. I just like a million things going on today. It's all good.
What are you doing?
Nothing. I'm talking to my good friend Sneako. Okay, my good Muslim friend. Okay, okay.
No. Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. Okay. My main problem with the red pill shit is that it's a lot of it is inherently contradictory and garbage and trash or whatever. TradCon stuff I don't like, but it's at least like internally consistent. So when you're talking about why are you just sitting here staring at me? Can I help you with something?
I'm just being a viewer.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
What you
all right.
right?
I love you. Yeah, that's totally fine. I don't know if you were waiting on something.
No, I'm just viewing it.
Yeah, so like the TradCon guys have a very weird or adversarial relationships with like women and families and stuff, and it's very strange because like a lot of TradCon people will talk about the importance of being a high value man and all this stuff, and now you have like Rolo putting out this tweet like chop your dick up so that you can't have kids, and it's like what the f are you guys talking about? Vasectomy reversal rate is like 30%. If you tell 100% of your audience to cut their dicks up so that they can like I guess be high value, then literally you're destroying 70% of the gene pool of the people that are following you. It's just like an indefensibly crazy take. So it's just, I mean, when I say
calling me TradCon for that is just a weird position. Like, you could still be red pilled. It doesn't mean you need to agree with everything. Like, you need to marry when you're a virgin, or that you need to get married to have kids. All this, like, I understand that there's different circumstances, and I don't recommend people getting married within the government anymore, where legally I think it's a terrible idea. But saying that I'm against vasectomies makes me a TradCon, Steven Crowder, Daily Wire.
supporter, that's just like a weird position. And
Well, I don't
if you
think
saw
I'm not
that,
using like tradcon as like an insult. I just mean that your views are shifting a bit more towards the like traditional conservative side versus like the red pill side. Like before,
I've always said that I wanted kids. I've always said it's never shifted.
It's not just one thing. It was before when you were arguing too that like the idea of being a high value man isn't flexing your watch and your muscles and your YouTube clout to people, because the only people that care about that are generally other men, and women are looking for a little bit more in relationships than just like the most clouded up, like expensive wristwatch wearing guy, which is like a more
if you finish watching the stream, I asked the girls, because I was curious about that same thing you just said. I asked them like, what do you think a high value man is? And they said things like character, personality, your traits, honesty, ambition. They said all like the wholesome traits. But then as the show went on, we found out that all the girls wanted to date somebody or be with somebody who's 5 to 10 years older than them. They all wanted a rich guy, and a lot of the girls were afraid of being called gold diggers because they wanted to be with rich people. So they'll have this like surface level idea about like what a high value man is. It's all about your character, your personality, your ambition. But what gets you in the door first is you're not even considered. Like, they don't even care about your ambitions or your dreams and goals if you're not rich and successful and 6 feet, whatever, like all the other criteria that's important to them.
Sure. So here's like a couple things, okay? And take it or leave it and keep talking to people and figuring out what your truth is or whatever. But in my opinion, one, everybody's got a floor to get in on, right? Like a woman who weighs like 500 pounds is not getting in the door with very many men, right? Much the same, a guy that's like 5'4", acne face, like doesn't work and lives with his mom is also probably not getting in the door with a lot of women. I think that people think that women's standards are way higher just to get in the door than they actually are, because the only place that people are meeting women are on Tinder. And on Tinder, it's 5 to 1 men to women. So of course the women's standards are going to be through the roof, because like you're like hardcore competing with a lot of other guys there. But when you're in warmer spaces, like when you're talking to employees, when you're at schools, when you're in like areas where there's like a lot of guys and girls mixed together, like those standards go way down. You know, when a girl's saying like, oh, well, I want to be with a wealthy guy, there are so many girls, and if you've been talking to more, you'll have met some, and you'll have met some successful women that are with brokey fucking losers. These women are plentiful. They exist and they're out there.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of the red pill stuff is too doomer about how women are, and thinks that all women want a super big millionaire and that you need a blue check and you need to have tons of clout. But in my experience, it hasn't been that at all. It's been that women care more about character, and they really want to see what you're like as a person, and the surface level stuff. Like, yeah, of course it's attractive, but if you're like a weird schizo, like autist, then you're not, if you don't know how to have, if you don't have any charisma, if you don't know how to speak to her, if you don't have like a good character, that she's going to be unattracted immediately. That thing that women only care about your money or your Lamborghini, I haven't experienced that whatsoever. So that's just where I disagree with a lot of stuff. And they called like the guy Rolo like the godfather of the red pill, and he's just saying avoid family creation as one of the 3 steps to become a high value man. But I'm like, that just made me realize like what is our idea of a high value man? Like because overall, a high value man is somebody who's happy, is somebody who is successful in every realm of life. And what I think everybody could agree on is that the family is the happiest state a person could be in. That would be the highest values if you are a happy person. Like at a certain level, like you're just 60 with a bunch of cars. Like who cares if you're high value? What really matters is happiness.
Yeah, to some extent, or at the very least, like choose a realm and go for happiness there. But like you can't have it all. Like when they're saying things like you know, if you want to be a truly high value man that has like a family, wait until you're 45 to have kids. It's like, well, if you want to be really successful in business and you want to forgo the family route, that's fine. But you can't pretend like you can do that. And then at 45, you're all of a sudden going to switch gears to family mode, right? You probably have to make these decisions earlier in life if you want to go for a family, or if you want to be, you know, just like a ruthless, successful businessman.
How do you think I was approached this debate? What do you think about? I did actually realize, like, while I was mid-debate here, that I picked up some tactics from debating you, like trying to pin questions, like trying to get somebody to answer a specific yes or no question is a very Destiny debate tactic. Like I was asking Fresh and Myron specifically, like, yes or no, do you agree? Should you give the advice out that men should get vasectomies? And they kind of like were fence sitting about that, which is ironic because we're very critical about like reaction channels and people who fence it all the time, but they were fence sitting a very specific question there. And I think that does expose where they stand or where their values are.
Yeah, because you realize it's a crazy proposition, right? Like you're essentially on the other end of the like girl power movement if you're telling like men like, yeah, like go get your dick surgery so that you don't get people pregnant. It's like a wild statement to make, I think. Yeah.
Okay, so do you think that where do you think TradCon starts and Red Pill ends?
The problem is I don't know what I don't even know what like red pill means, because it feels like where a lot of these red pill communities exist now is like so much farther away from where they started even like 2 or 3 years ago. Like I feel like when I listen, as much as I don't like them, and think they're sex traffickers, when I listen to Tristan and Andrew talk about women, it sounds like they understand women really well. They'll tell you strategies and techniques to like seduce women, or how to get women to like you, or how to court a woman, or how to fuck women. And it feels like when they're talking, it feels like they understand the game really, really well. Like if Tristan or Andrew walked into any area, they could pick up any chick they want, or almost. That's what it feels like. For a lot of these red pill guys, I don't think they could, because it doesn't sound like they're giving even good advice to just fuck women. It sounds like they're giving advice to maybe attract a hyper-specific type of like wannabe sugar baby in Miami. Like that's what it feels like a lot of the advice is a lot of the times. I don't know. Do you know who do you know Darius and Zerka from my streams?
Oh.
Did you say no or yes? Sorry.
No, I don't know.
Oh, fuck. Okay. Like these guys are like kind of, I don't want to call them losers. You know John Zerka, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They're not like losers, but they're not like the most successful people. And they got a lot of weird shit going on, but they're super funny. They're really charismatic. And if you put them in a room with girls, they're going to be fucking, because they are. They have like the game for it. They've got like the character for it. Kind of like the old pickup artist community would say that like game is more important than just like wealth or status or anything else. So when you ask me like, yeah, where does red pill stop and like tradcon begin? It's hard to say, because the red pill stuff as it exists today is like just going in such an insane direction. I just can't believe that like so many people would be uncritically amplifying the idea that men in their 20s should all be getting vasectomies. That's an insane statement to make. I don't know who could like. There's no way that Andrew and Tristan agree with that, right? Or I don't know if you've talked to them about it. There's no way that there's no way that
they advocate towards fatherhood all the time.
Yeah.
Tristan told me that he wishes that he had kids younger when he was like around my age, when he was 24. There was no reason.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to a lot of people who have had kids like around your age, and they said that it didn't like prevent you from being able to do whatever you want to do. And even like you look at the guys who are saying get a vasectomy and avoid family. Like, what are you really doing in your 20s and 30s that's better than raising children?
Sure.
Like, what part of your lifestyle is better than raising kids? Because I can't see anything that's better than that. It's like you're networking, I guess. You get the car, but that's not fulfilling.
I mean, it depends. I mean, like there are things that are fulfilling in life beyond raising kids. I think that's one of the big there's a whole other conversation topic. One of the really big challenges today for like repopulation, why birth rates have fallen, is because there are a lot of things that are really fun in life to pursue that aren't necessarily having children, and women can pursue that too. So it's a very hard buy for a lot of people, or a hard sell for a lot of people, to say put your career, your life on hold to have kids. Because like having kids is awesome, or raising a family is awesome, and all of that stuff is cool. And I think most people that do it don't regret it. But also traveling a lot is really cool. Traveling the world, building businesses, networking, making friends, going out and having a ton of fun without the responsibilities of necessarily having a child tying you down is also like super fun. So I mean, like there's definitely like legitimate arguments on both sides. That's why I think people are trying to balance it. Like maybe have a kid in your like late 20s, or maybe when you're like 30, 31, instead of like having a kid when you're 20. Because women that have kids that are 20 they're missing out on like a whole chunk of potential life, which could be okay if you want to raise kids earlier. But that's just like, it's a tough decision that you kind of have to make, somewhere early on in life.
I just see that as the only solution to the decline of the West. And I also, what I realize on this show is how I disagree with the mentality that you need to sleep with a bunch of feminist women and need to go and engage in a lot of like promiscuous sex in order to understand female nature. I don't think you need to do that. I don't think it's that necessary, especially because if you don't want to raise children with these women, like why even, you're just engaging with them because you want to have, it's like an ego stroke. You want to be able to like,
you just want to fuck because you want to fuck. Yeah. Saying that like, well, you need to fuck all the slutties to, figure out the good women. Like that's retarded. Like you can figure that out without fucking your way through a ton of women.
It's not that hard. You could watch one of these shows or just look at a girl's Instagram and figure out like, do you want to raise children with her? If the answer is no, then you are wasting your time by having sex with her. Mm-hmm. That's ultimately a waste of time.
Sure.
Do you think that the West is declining?
That's a complicated question. Depends on what we mean by declining. Like technologically, medically, and everything, probably not. In terms of world influence, I don't think so, although there are fights right now. I mean, birth rates are declining, but that's true of literally like every single industrialized country around the world.
Yeah.
I mean, like, the problem is when people say the West is declining, it's usually framed around like LGBT stuff. So I don't know. I mean, I personally don't think it is, but...
As a world power, I think that's the best metric. Do you think that the United States, for example, do you think that their position as the number one world power is going to collapse in the next 10 years?
Absolutely not. I would put a lot of money with big odds on that. Absolutely not. No shot.
Why do you say that?
Because it's not. We're culturally, we own the world culturally. Economically, we still own the world. In terms of like global sphere of influence that's backed up by the U.S. military, we still own the world. In terms of like directing other countries, like we're on top of that 100%. Yeah. And other countries are still having like huge growing pains they're going to have to go through. Russia is a mess right now, regardless of what Ryan Dawson or other people may think. Russia is in huge trouble right now. China is still having a whole bunch of growing pains in terms of figuring out how to direct their government as their people gain more money and they want more autonomy, and them trying to figure out like Hong Kong and Taiwan. Like there's a lot of confusion there. Like we have issues in the West. A lot of the times I think, have you ever heard, do you ever watch the Batman movie, The Dark Knight Rises, and Bane is like, victory has defeated you. Do you remember that? In some ways in the West, like that's kind of like where we're at right now, where people are like, the West is declining, and it's like, why? And it's because we've ran out of a lot of problems to tackle, so now we like complain about trans people all day. Like in some ways, I think it's like a product of our success that like the most important thing that we seem to be obsessed with right now are LGBT issues, because we don't have to worry about like a middle class that's starving to death, or we don't have to worry about like being sanctioned from the entire world, or we don't have to worry about holding onto territories that are, you know, autonomous from us. Like these are huge issues that like Russia and China and other countries have to worry about that we've largely moved past. Not to say we solved all of our problems, but I think that compared to other superpowers, I think we're doing pretty okay as the United States.
Yeah, we could argue about how much the LGBT and the trans influence is affecting the children and affecting schools, and how, like, the fact that 3% of high school women, high school girls think that they're trans now. How many Gen Z people think are identifying as LGBT? You can see, I think the future there, that proves that we're shifting in a different direction, but that's a conversation for another day. I just wanted to see, now you sound more calm. You were all like disgruntled and stuff like that and ADHD before. Aren't you better now?
Well, yeah, but that's because I just finished all my emails and everything, so my shit is calming down now.
I think it was because you were talking to a good Muslim and Allah was feeding onto you.
Oh, yeah? If I was a real dick, you know what I'd do right now? I'd tell you to turn your webcam, and then I'd tell you to point to Mecca right now. Do you think you could do it?
Point east. Yeah, just point east.
Okay, remember that, because I'm going to be asking you that the next time we're on camera together, okay?
Okay, I'm going to get a compass. Bye.
Bye. Okay, hold on. Okay, time to... All right, bye. Remember to hit that like and subscribe, and don't forget the notification bell so that my videos show up right in your feed.